Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Total Football Talk. So we're going to have a quick look at the Manchester United current the news that's kind of coming out of around kind of Old Trafford at the minute. That's on the social media and the media pages. We'll dive straight in and we'll look at the top story, or one of the top stories is just Garnacho. And after that, we'll also look at stories involving Victor Gyökeres and Nuno Mendez, and kind of where they are with everything, where Ruben Amorim is with everything. Who does he want? Does he still want Osimhen, or does he want Victor Amorim or Victor Gyökeres? Who's his top target? And we'll also kind of look at a couple other bits about is Joshua Zirkzee, is he potentially off in this transfer window, or is he maybe going to go in the summer transfer window? And then we'll have a quick look at where things are with the Glazers and how much money they've taken out of the club. We'll kind of look at that towards the end. Okay, but as I said, I'll make this swift and we'll crack on into it, and we'll just start with the Garnacho story, and that is Garnacho is in. Whenever United played Victoria Pilsen in the Europa League, it looked like there was a bit of a misunderstanding, as Garnacho's side have said, between him and Ruben Amorim. Apparently, Garnacho has turned his back on Ruben Amorim when he was giving him instructions, before he was coming on in that particular match. Now, Garnacho side have come out and said it's a misunderstanding. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it definitely looks like it has kind of annoyed Ruben Amorim, and I think that was the reason why Garnacho was dropped from the City game. I just think Ruben Amorim just wants his players to be grounded and humble, and maybe Garnacho is thinking he's maybe a little bit ahead of where he is at the minute. He is. I believe he has talent, but it's kind of how far can that talent go? If he starts to believe in his own hype a little bit, is he the sort of player who will maybe not flourish and just kind of become another Anna Januzaj, apologies for butchering his name, but he was a kid who came through, had seemed to have quite a lot going for him, but kind of flattered to deceive eventually, and we had to move him on. Is Garnacho going to be another one of those players? As I said before, there was talk about Madrid, or there was Atletico Madrid looking at him. Now, Garnacho originally came from Atletico Madrid when he was 15, I think, or 16. He was very, very young. And then he came through our youth system. We paid a certain amount of money. It was maybe £500,000, around that, maybe €500,000 for him. So we will make a profit on him if he was to sell. But do you think, I'd love to know what you guys think. Is Garnacho, has he got all the potential that people think he has, or is he just a player who is potentially going to just, be another, I said, Anna Janaze, and just disappear to another club and maybe not kind of hit the heights that you kind of would hope he would do at United? I believe there's a player in him, but I don't know if he suits Amorim's system. I think we've got to trust the manager. If the manager believes that maybe there's, if he can sell him and bring someone else in that does suit the system, then maybe that is the way we need to move forward with this one. Trusting the manager. He's got his ideas. He knows what he wants. He knows how he wants his team to play. He knows that he needs a kind of a left-sided and a right-sided kind of wing back to create more chances for whoever the striker is going to be. So I think that, maybe the Garnacho thing, it looks like it could maybe just all work okay in a strange way. If there is a fallout and he is sold, and the squad can be strengthened, maybe that's the way forward. We'll have to see how January pans out, see how that works. And the iPaper are kind of the iPaper Sport are looking at whether Victor Gyökeres is Amorim's top target. They're saying that he is. So even though there's a lot of talk about Osimhen and Rashford and a potential swap deal, I said before, I'm not entirely sure how we can do a swap deal, but can Gyökeres come? Is he Amorim's main guy? Now, I believe that Laurie Wilwell has come out and said that Amorim's kind of promised to Hoyland that he will make him the main guy. But I don't know. Does Gyökeres, for you guys, does he work? Who would you have, Gyökeres, or would you prefer Victor Osimhen? Who do you think would suit United at the minute? I mean, I think they're similar styles of strikers. I mean, Gyökeres is absolutely ripping it up in the Portuguese league. He did it, he was very good in the Championship for Coventry before he went over to Sporting. Do you think he could come back and rip it up here? Do you think he'd get the service that he gets playing for Sporting? I mean, I think at the minute, we don't have the players to give any striker the service that they desire. I think Hoyland has kind of fallen on his sword because of this. I think he's absolutely finding it difficult due to the lack of service. Do you think he can come in and do a job? Do you think either of those two can come in and do a job? And for yous out there, you guys, who drop a comment in, who would you prefer to see, Gyökeres or Osimhen up front? Okay, we'll swiftly move on to the next little bit of news, and we'll take a look at, apparently Garnacho is another one that Ruben Amorim is kind of very interested in. Now, United were linked with him back in Ten Hag days. There was a lot of talk about him because he's a left-sided centre back, and he's very good. He's very young. He's got a lot of potential. But again, will he come into the Premier League? Will he suit the Premier League? Do you think he'll be able to make it in the Premier League if he does come over? Will it take him a little bit of time to adjust? Because unfortunately we're in a situation where we really need players to come in, hit the ground running. But not every transfer is going to work out. I think the odds on every transfer working, or the odds on bringing in, maybe you bring in 4 players, 2 work and 2 struggle. 3 players. It's like 60% chance of a certain amount of your signings coming in and actually working straight off the bat. So could he be another one? Do you think? We've obviously extended Maguire's contract by another year. Good idea or bad idea? He's on £190,000 a week. That's a lot of money. But is it right for us to extend it for 1 more year, but knowing that we're going to lose Evans and probably Lindelof? Because we probably do need another centre back just to make sure that we've got cover. And Maguire in the back 3 actually has done quite well. I'm not Maguire's biggest fan. I think in a back 2 he's really, really struggled. But can he push on and give us 1 more good season? I believe since he's lost the captaincy, I think he's been able to kind of, he's worked well. He's managed to sort himself out. He's been very professional, and he's done a very, very good job. I don't think he's been amazing, but I think he's been strong, and he's done a good job. And he's definitely kind of come back and give his critics a bit to think about. And I am one of those, so he's definitely given me something to think about. So fair play to Maguire for kind of giving us very good last year, and so far this year, bar I think the last game, I think he's done reasonably well. So in the Acho, would you like to see him come? I think that's probably a summer move. I don't think that's something that can happen in January. Then the other one is Nuno Mendez has spoke to his girlfriend and says that he wants to come to England and play in the Premier League. Now, is that a deal that we can get done? As I've talked about this before, I've even gone and done a little short saying I believe that there is a lot of noise coming out. It's where do we find the money? Can we find the money to make this Nuno Mendez deal work? And United need to, they need to figure out how they're going to, get their finances together to get this deal done. And as I said before, I actually believe that they need to get these deals done very, very quickly. They need to get on with them right now. Transfer window's open, clock's ticking. Let's move it on. And there's another journalist coming out, Forza Juve, and they're talking about, Gazeta IT. Sorry, that's where this information is coming from. And they're talking about Joshua Zirkzee going to Juventus, and now it's up to Juventus and Manchester United to finalise the deal. Do you think Zirkzee will move to Serie A in January? Do you think that's a really good move for him? I don't know. I'm kind of like, I think there's a player there, but maybe it was Marco van Basten who believed that maybe Zirkzee came to this league maybe 1 year too soon. Maybe he's not quite ready for the step up in the quality and the pace and the kind of the blood and guts of what the Premier League is. Maybe he's not ready for that, maybe he's just not robust and he's not built for it just yet. But given time, maybe he could be. I think Amormin maybe does think there's a player in them. I know he's come out and defended him after the recently getting booed. But we'll just have to wait and see whether, there's anything that can come from that particular transfer. Whether it's in January, whether it's in June, or whether he can knuckle down and just kind of fight his way through the demons that are at the minute and carve out a career for himself at Old Trafford. And finally, we'll just look at what the Glazers are doing. The other news that came out is that the Glazers have taken to date 815 million they've sucked out of interest payments from the Glazers ownership, and the debt has risen to over 1 billion. I mean, it's absolutely scandalous, absolutely farcical. This club has been absolutely decimated in the last 10, 11 years. I mean, and obviously, I believe under Ferguson's, Sir Alex Ferguson's reign, we had issues, but Sir Alex was a genius, and he managed, I think, to kind of cover them up. I think his man management skills got us through quite a few seasons where the Glazers' impact, even though it was huge in terms of the fans, kind of protesting, Ferguson managed to somehow make it work on the field. But nothing's working now on the field. On the field, we're 14th, absolutely 14th in the league. Horrific. And Roy Keane even said in a comment yesterday, if those players in his day were 14th, people would have got murdered. People would have been absolutely killed and slaughtered. He said, absolutely, he can't even fathom that United are this far down the league at the minute. And, he's right. I think those players would have absolutely tore each other apart and then probably brought it onto the field and then tore teams apart. But that's just coming from Roy Keane. But coming back to what the Glazers did, there's 815 million that's been sucked out of Manchester United. I mean, this is coming from Laurie Whitwell. So Laurie is a very respected journalist and knows his stuff. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable the amount of money that's been taken out. I mean, there's a new stadium, or the guts of a new stadium that could have been, that money could have been used and utilized in a very kind of constructive way. Unfortunately, it's just all been stripped away, and Manchester United been laid bare, and we're kind of out there at the minute, and we're absolutely faltering everywhere, on the pitch, off the pitch, and the whole thing's a shambles. The only upside to it is, I'll give, the people talk about the entire club. The youth setup's quite, really interesting. The kids are actually doing brilliant. They won a treble last year. They're flying again this year. There's some really potentially really good kids in the academy, but they're young. We shouldn't be putting the pressure on them, I don't think, because they don't deserve it. Yeah, and Sir Matt Buzzer used to say, if you're old enough, you're good enough. I totally on board with that, but they've got to be integrated in the right way. So, guys, that's all your news for today. Thanks very much for tuning in. If you're enjoying the content, please give me a like. Please give me a bit of a subscribe as well. That will really help the channel grow. And I'll bring more news tomorrow. And finally, it's Liverpool tomorrow. Little prediction. God, I pray for a draw, but I think we might lose. Mind you, these players need to turn up and put a bit of pride into the shirt. So please, for the love of God, just come fighting, come out of the traps, and give us fans something to shout about and something to take away, and show us that there is kind of hope. Because oh my God, do we need it? Okay, thanks very much for cheering, for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.